Hey mages, welcome to today's Brothers War standard video on MTG Arena. After a recent poll, Razorlash Transmogrant was the card that you wanted to see brewed around. This is the second in the series. Just want to say thanks for all the support. The first one, which the winner was Painful Quandary. We did some, 3 decks around it and then did some gameplay. And this is the same what we do this and going forward. There is a poll on now, so please go and check down the community page after this. But I have 3 Razorlash Transmogrant decks for you today, and one of them, the last deck, is a budget deck. So don't let that sway you just because it's budget, but it does only have 4 rares in the deck. But we're going to take a look at all 3 of the decks, and once you've decided which one's your favourite and which one of these you would like to see gameplay with, please leave it in the comments down below. It'll be very much appreciated. Also appreciated are all your likes and subscriptions if you do enjoy the channel. And of course, if you want to go that bit further, go and join the Total MTG Club and become a Patreon. Links down below. Thank you to everyone that does that. Without further ado, let's get on to look at these 3 decks. So the first deck that I've put together is Razorlash Artifacts. This is an Esper brew. First of all, we're going to look at the brew around card, which is Razorlash Transmogrant. It is 2 mana, artifact creature, zombie. It's a 3/1 that can't block. You can pay 6 and return it from the graveyard to the battlefield with a +1/1 counter on it. Ability will cost 4 less to activate, and opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands. Unless the opponents exile it, it is very hard to get rid of, and it can be great there just to keep attacking with. So the idea of this deck is artifact base. So we've got lots of, powerful artifacts in the deck. One that is absolute all-star for the deck, if you take away Razorlash, of course, is Patchwork Automaton. This has War 2, harder to deal with as well. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a 1/1 counter on Patchwork Automaton. So let's have a little look at the deck. It's 20 creatures, 16 non-creatures. Also has an average of 2.5 CMC. And we have 21 artifacts in the deck as well. Plenty of ways to trigger the Patchwork Automaton. Also in there, one of my favourite cards from Brothers War, which is the Phyrexian Fleshgorger, and it is a nice, cool mythic. Prototype is still good. 1 double black. If you get to play it for the 7 mana, Menace, Lifelink, Ward, Pay Life, equal to the Phyrexian's gorgeous power, which could cost opponent 3 life or potentially 7 if it's a late game finisher for us. We also have a Combat Courier in there, Unearth. Sometimes I do just unearth this when I've practiced with it and just use it for the sacrifice in drawing a card. Not bad. It's a good way to draw an extra card, but if you can get this down turn 1, you might be able to get a few attacks in with it as well. Surge Engine, great card, fun card, 2 mana, 3/2. Has Defender, but then you just pay that single blue mana and then it loses Defender and can't be blocked. Pay 3, becomes a 5/4. Only activate if Surge Engine doesn't have Defender, so you have to pay the first cost first. And then you can pay 6, draw 3 cards if it's blue, and then it becomes blue when it becomes the 5/4 transformation Surge Engine for the 3 mana. All in all, a great card. You can sink mana to this if you can keep it on the battlefield, is what I found. Late game, I've honestly gone 2, played it for 2, paid the 1 mana, paid the 3 mana straight away, and been ready to attack as a 5/4 next turn. What else do we have in there? We've mentioned the 4 Transmorgans, the Automatons, and we also have a Rekna Bankbuster. Great for drawing cards, it's nice, and then can be crew 3 for a 4/4 attacker. Still played early, and then just drawing, what you need into the deck is a nice way. And then another card that can help us draw cards is Tocassia's Welcome. Whenever 1 or more creatures with mana 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, you get a draw card, but this ability will only trigger once. Now, this will obviously trigger with Combat, Surge Engine, Razorlash, Automaton. This would trigger with all of those creatures, can really help us draw extra cards. Now, for me, a great card for the deck, which is why I went Esper instead of keeping it Dimir, was making the addition of Urza, Prince of Crew, because it can give our artifact creatures that extra bit of bump that you need to make them a bit bigger. +2/2, and then you can pay 6 to create a copy of Token on target artifact, except it's a 1/1 soldier in additions. But when this gives the +2/2 to maybe your prototype, so it's a 5/5 or potentially a 9/7 Menace Lifelink, these are some big swings. Your Surge Engine can quite easily become a 7/6 attacking creature, and so on with Patchwork, adding that +2 and make the Razorlash Transmogant really hard to sort of deal with. 5/3 can't block, but still can be swinging in for big swings with this deck is what I like. We have removal, cut down, there's go for the throat and infernal grasp as well. Nice bits of removal. And then I wanted a deck for this, so I'm playing it in this deck. Urza's Command. You get to choose two, shrink down opponents' creatures, create a Power Stone. But creating that tapped 0/0 colours construct where, you know, the amount of artifacts we control, it gets +1/1. We've got a lot of artifacts in the deck, 21 as we saw, so we can create a massive creature and that gives us another beater. And the other option is scry 1, draw a card. I always tell you how good scry really is. Land base. It's a mixture of a lot of rare lands in this one. Raffine's Tower, we got Underground Shipwell, all these rare lands. So hopefully we can play these spells because we want to be casting the Surge Engine. We don't want to be stuck for mana here. We need the white mana to get our Urzas down and the double black potentially for Phyrexians. So, you know, we don't want to be missing on the lands. And then we get to play some lands that can do some work like a Ganju and Otawara in the deck as well. I've also added in a couple of Mishra's Foundry, another artifact that can be attacking as well from the lands. So all in all, this is a, you know, an aggro based deck, but then very, very strong artifact theme with some powerful cards, and we can really pump them up with the Urza Prince of Crew. And this is what I think is a really good deck for Razorlash Transmogrant to be in. Now, the creature type on Razorlash is zombie. So the next one is Razorlash Zombies. We got the 4 of Transmogrant in here straight away. And then we have a very, very strong tribal zombie package in this. It's really good. We have Champion of the Perished. We've also then got Jadar that can come in and make zombie tokens. Not a zombie itself, but we can create those 2/2 zombies constantly. Tainted Adversary, a 2/3 with Death Touch can be like pumped up when we pay 3 when it enters the battlefield if you can, and put that many 1/1 counters in, then create twice that many zombie tokens as well. Extra power with the Blade Stitch Scarb, gives all your zombies +1/+0. There's just so much synergy in this deck. It's really fun to play and can turn out to be really powerful. Arch Ghoul of Thraben. This or another zombie dies, look at the top card. If it's a zombie card, you may reveal it, put it into your hand. If you don't put that card into your hand, you get to put it into your graveyard. CMC on this very low, 2.2, but we do have 20 zombies in the deck, 24 creatures in total. Very good tribal deck. What else is in there? One of my favourites. This can give all our zombies flying and give them the evasion. Gerald Fishney Stitcher. Nice rare, coming in there, 1/4. Good stats and has another ability as well. Fellstinger. Exploit a creature. Now, target player, I've actually used this as a win con when we've managed to get through. We can't get that final bit of damage down with our zombies. Then the Fellstinger exploits a creature, and then target player draws 2 cards. We can give them the true 2 cards as long as the 2 life kills our opponent as well. Headless Rider or another non-type zombie enters. Zombie you control dies. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature. So, you know, the idea of this deck is spamming loads of creatures in there, making loads of zombies as well. And what's that makes that better? Well, it's making more of them. Necro Duality in there. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield, you create a token that's a copy of that zombie creature as well. And we've got a lot of zombies, and we are copying. And when you're copying cards, like the champions coming in and multiples of these on the field, and you're making multiples of them, and there's even more zombies that are coming in with Jadar, and then maybe some more with Headless Rider and everything like that. It gets out of hand. You are swinging it. I mean, I've swung in with like a 7/1 Transmorgan and not just had 1 on the field. I've had 4 at some points. It can really, really take over the board. Obviously, creature heavy, dies to a Wrath, but then we can just rebuild the board. If Necro Duality is on the board, you are safe, and if it stays there, you're just really just amassing that board time and time again. So they will definitely have to deal with this strong card. But Razorlash, of course, fits perfectly into a zombie tribal deck. The land base, very simple on this one. We got the rare lands here, Shipwreck Marsh and some Underground River, then a couple of Waterfront Districts. This is a good common card because we got a bit of card draw there, paying 4, and then an Otawara, then, you know, lots of basics as well. This is true aggro tribal, and this is a really cool deck if you want to give this one a try. And now we go to the final deck, and it's a Razorlash budget mono black aggro deck. Razorlash fitting perfectly into this. CMC of 2.0, the lowest one there, 22 creatures in this deck. Now, this deck is very much like the zombie, but definitely, you know, it's budget. There's only the 4 rares, which is Razorlash, so this hopefully is a deck that can, you know, everyone can make potentially. We have Conscript in there. We've got a lot of good creatures with, you know, good stats of 1 mana, 2/1. Does come in tapped. Ashnod's Harvester, a 3/1 for 2 that can attack graveyards and has Unearth. I found this card to be a really good, you know, strong uncommon. Knight of Dust Shadow, help against those life gain decks. Got Menace, and it's a creature that can be pumped as well. Desperate Farmer. Found this card, you know, just it wasn't even, and all of a sudden it just popped up on my screen. I was like, I've never played with this card. But when you look at it, when another creature you control dies, you transform it into a 4/3 lifelink. Our creatures can obviously die. There's lots of removal in the format, and people can be killing. And if this is on the field, we get to flip it. They might decide not to kill this, not see the interaction of it because it's just a common card. They might look at it and go, oh, flip it, might not even look, and just look at your harder creatures that they might want to get rid of. And that seems to be the fact sometimes, where they've not killed the Desperate Farmer, and then this has died or something else has died that they think is stronger. Then we flip it into a 4/3 lifelinker, which is really cool. You can also do that with your Fell Stinger when you exploit one of your creatures, like maybe Conscript, that you can potentially get back, and then flip it yourself and just flip it into the Depraved Harvester that way as well. We've got some, you know, pretty cool interactions for a 4 rare budget deck. Phyrexian Rager, ends a battlefield, draw a card, lose a life. A little bit of card draw comes in. You know, you do have to take the stipulation of what you mainly do in black decks is, you know, you lose a bit of life, you do drain yourself, but, you know, still a 2/2 body that can draw you a card, which is pretty good for me. Now, what removal? We have a fair bit of removal. We got Cut Down as a 2/of in there. We've also got Go for the Throat as a 2/of and Infernal Grasp as a 3 as well. A couple of Heroes D to help against those Planeswalker decks. So, you know, a fair bit of cool removal in mono black. Last card I'm going to talk about is this one, Ghoulish Procession. Whenever one or more non-token creatures die, create a 2/2 black zombie token with Decayed. So when it attacks, obviously you do lose it. But if you kill creatures, you know, your opponent's creatures on their turn, you will then get that token in their turn, and it gives you more to attack with and be very, very aggro. The CMC is very low, but we still run 23 lands because we don't really want to be, you know, missing out on the lands. You could possibly go 22 if you feel like you're drawing too many lands, maybe up one of these. Cut down, or maybe another bit of removal, or add in, you know, an extra bit of life gain if you desire as well. Coming against lots of graveyard decks, bring in another Ashnod's Harvester. Then we have Akiba Rekna Raid. Each opponent, you know, it's a draining game for 2 of the laws, draining them for 1, and we gain 1. Then it comes down to a 2/2 creature with Menace, which is very good. Turn 1 playing this or your Conscript is a great way to start the aggro beatdown. I really do like this deck, and it puts up some really good performances for a 4 rare budget deck. So this is another cool deck that you could build. But which one are you going to vote for the gameplay? Is it going to be the Razorlash budget deck, or would you like to see the artifact deck, or would you possibly like to see the zombie deck? You know, you've got to put your votes in. You've got to comment down below and let me know. You must do that, and then the one with the most votes will be the one that gets the gameplay. Hope you've enjoyed. This is the second one in the series of this, and I'm really enjoying doing these because it's a lot more interaction with us. You're voting on the polls. You know, we're getting sometimes up to 200 plus people. I'd like a lot more than that if we can. If you can just keep voting there, first time seeing this, make sure you head to the community part on the YouTube, on the homepage. You'll see community at the top. There's lots of stuff I put on there. I try to put, you know, content on there when I'm not doing a video. So plenty of stuff to get interactive with and get involved with. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, give it a thumbs up if you have. And if you're new, subscribe. But you lot take care. And I'll see you on the next video.